the moment of the evening every K-State fan enjoys. Settle down and pour a whiskey, crack open a LaCroix. Please put your hands together and make a little noise for your favorite Wildcatters, the handsome Bosco boys.
Ooh, Bosco's boys. Come on, boys.
The boys are back, and this is actually the first time we have recorded a football post-game show about the Cats winning together since what? The KU game? Is that it?
It's true.
Was that the last one we won, the KU game?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's true.
And we did do that one together. So it's been a while. It's been a while. We're going to get into it. But before we do, the K-State versus Saluki game review is presented by Spotify Green Room. It is the live audio-only sports talk platform, free to download and use to talk to me, Grant, all the boneheads, other athletes, and insiders in real time. Perfect for watch parties, debates, post-game breakdowns, and reacting to breaking news. It is a free app that you can download via the iOS Apple Store, or the Android App Store. Just link it with your Twitter account and you're good to go. We'll be going live every Wednesday, 7 p.m. in God's time zone. Join us and let your voice be heard. Let's just jump into it. K-State 31, Salukis 23. Before we talk about any of like the game stuff, I think the official attendance, and this is through the gate attendance, was 47,628, which is pretty good. From what I was hearing, they were down to just a handful of scattered singles. So there's, roughly about 2,000 folks who didn't use their tickets, but the 47,628 looked good and it sounded good up until a point. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about, for a lot. How good was it to get back in there? And again, it wasn't a complete sellout, but, coming out of COVID, especially with some worries with some folks, I was pleased with how the stadium looked fan-wise and the atmosphere before the event. What were your thoughts finally getting back in there?
It was great. It felt amazing. Somehow I lucked out and got two seats, like literally 2 spots away from my old seats, same row and everything. So it was great. I felt like right at home. Crowd was great. Students were great. I was like blown away how big the band was going to be, but then I realized after they sat down that they just kind of spread themselves out. But I was like, holy shit, is our band up to like 1,000 members at this point? But it was awesome. It really wasn't that hot, especially sitting on the west side, and there was really nice breeze all night. So yeah, it was amazing. It was I was super happy to be back.
Yeah, couldn't have asked for a better, basically from 6 o'clock to 5 o'clock to like 6:30. The South End Zone I thought looks great. I legitimately think Bill Snyder Family Stadium is the greatest 50,000 seat sports stadium in North America. It looks great. It finally looks finished. Those video boards are amazing. And then even beyond that, they made the announcement they're funded the volleyball arena, the football practice facility, and the Olympic training facility. Grounds breaking in January. So here we are getting 3 more facilities going that will be done before the 2023 fall seasons. Just how amazing have the facilities been? It started with John Curry, and I think some folks are like, all right, what's going to happen fundraising facility wise when Gene Taylor took over, but he put together that facility master plan. And after that, he's almost done with the entire thing. It was like a $500 million project. And after these projects are done, we're like 75-80% through with it. How amazing is seeing the transformation of K-State facilities and also seeing that South End Zone in person?
Well, we've done a great job in just almost a decade to really transform a lot of the facilities, but just the football facilities alone. I mean, since 2013, I guess, it's unbelievable to see. I saw a funny tweet though. We got to stop debuting stuff on games because something bad always happens.
Yeah, lose to North Dakota State, lose Jesse Ertz, Tyler goes down. It's not good. Maybe
that South End Zone looks great. I mean, it looks really, really good. Being on the south side is very good too. It's just like being on the west side. I want to desperately get up to that Shamrock Zone and check it out, but it all looks very good. I love the 4 video boards in the corners. It's a great stadium. I still have complaints about the sound system, but someday I'll be able to hear from my seats.
There must be something wrong with that because I hear everything perfectly. So
You're close though. You're like right by, especially now, that enormous speaker. You're at section 7, so it makes sense that you'll be able to hear it pretty clearly. But it's hard to hear. I don't know what it is, but it's a great stadium. It's about as good as it gets, I think. You're right, for a 50,000 seater. And there's really no reason to add any capacity, even if we could. It's perfect.
Yeah. Final thing before we get into it. Willie just coming out on the back of a gator now. What were your thoughts?
I guess.
Yeah. This is the worst Willie the Wildcat we've ever had, by the way. He is horrible.
He's bad, man. He's so it's like he does everything at 1x speed or 2x speed. He sucks. Yeah, not good. It's disappointing that they haven't gotten creative with Willie in a long time. I feel like they just hung up the boots after that tackling incident, and they haven't looked back. It's been pretty vanilla ever since, but this is about as vanilla as it's gotten. He just rides out on a gator. So I guess we really are the country farmer boy school now.
Well, they sold a sponsorship for it, so that's good. All right, let's get into it. The main topic, Skylar gets injured. We'll do some speculation, some reckless speculation on it before. I literally thought I was going to throw up when I saw him go down. The stadium atmosphere just fucking died. It was a good atmosphere before, not great, not an all-time atmosphere, but a very good atmosphere. Good one we've had, probably dating back to that Oklahoma game. And it just died. It just fucking died after that. Walk me through what you're feeling when you saw him go down. Like I said, we'll get into some of the speculation here after this, but just walk me through your emotions.
I had a perfect view of it. Pretty much knew immediately. I could see that it was non-contact and saw him hobbling. And then, when you see him, I saw him down just on his belly, face down, and not moving for 3 or 4 seconds. And it was like, okay, well, we're in big trouble. It's just so unfortunate. A guy like Skylar Thompson, really, really good character on the team, really just wonderful human being, and already had to experience a season-ending injury last year in his senior year, and he decides to come back and put all the work in and goes down with an even worse, an even dumber injury, non-contact, and nobody did anything wrong. He just goes down, and it's just so super unfortunate. Maybe not be a season ender, we don't know, but yeah, just totally sucked all of the energy out of the atmosphere from everybody. I think everyone was thinking worst case scenario immediately. You could see him just bawling on the field. Coach was crying on the field. So I just think the mood, and I think we would have absolutely rolled too, because we looked pretty solid. I don't know. There's not a lot of things that you can say about it other than it's just really devastating and disappointing. And I'm just glad. I'm glad we got out of there with a win, and now we can kind of readjust. But just impossible not to be devastated and feel sick to your stomach about Skylar.
Yeah, it hurt my soul. Literally thought I was going to throw up when you see him go down. And you touched on it. He battled so hard to get back. He did so much to get back to this point, and then you have that injury again. We'll get into some of the speculation now. Again, what's funny is a million different people, not a million, I would say a handful of folks DM'd either my personal account or the show account saying, oh, hey, this is what the injury is. Every single one of them are different. So I don't think anyone outside of probably Skylar and Coach Kleiman, Skylar's family, know exactly what's happening. The rumors are he's going to get an MRI on Monday. So today when folks are listening to it, and then we'll start to get news. But hey, there are people who seem to know or saying, hey, it might not be season ending. So if that's the case, then it's just cobble together as many wins as you can get, because here's the thing. The Big 12 did not have a good day yesterday.
No.
I could easily see the Cats getting back to Arlington if Skylar wouldn't have gotten hurt. I'd be feeling really good. Now it's just, okay, got to readjust. You got to find a way to cobble together wins where you can get them and move on from there. You saw him. I think you're one of the first people who really tweeted out, because you're right there. You saw him walk out under his own power. So I think you're one of the first guys who are saying, hey, maybe it isn't, the end for him. How big would it be if he could get back, say, like target that Iowa State game? That's what my hopes are. I think we'd all take that. So how big would it be if we could get him back for, only missing 3 games?
Season changing. It's monumental. Like we saw, we'll get into the backup quarterback, but this team functions entirely differently with Skylar under center, and we have to get him back. Simply put, we absolutely have to get him back sooner rather than later. Hopefully it's just like 2 to 4 weeks max. That would be a win. It's unfortunate that we have a gauntlet the next 4 games. But I don't know. Will had a pretty poor quarter last night, and maybe time away and reassessing and regrouping will give him the mental, fortitude and focus going into a game, knowing that he's going to be the starter. Maybe it'll be a little bit different. We can game plan with Will instead of kind of putting scotch tape on our playbook and trying to figure out what works with Will. But we have to get it back. Everybody knows the reality. We need Skylar back. It would be so big.
We saw it happen last year. So we'll keep moving on. We'll touch on Will Howard. Turnovers were a massive killer, and we'll do a deep dive on the defense, but the defense really only gave up 9 points. Granted, it could have been more. There was a missed field goal on their part, but I thought the defense looked all right. All 23 of Southern Illinois' points happened in that second quarter. Long touchdown drive, long field goal drive, pick 6, then 6-yard, touchdown after the Deuce fumble. I, of course, of all people, fucking Riley Gates was trying to shit on the defense last night, which I thought was hilarious.
I saw him last night.
So did I. He's a loser. I overall, I was pleased. I was pleased with the defense. Total yards, we had 380 on offense, which is great for us. Southern Illinois only had 276. 45 of them came late in the game when we were in prevent. Time of possession, K-State 34, SIU 26. Basically, all of that is like, okay, hey, this is recipe for a big Cats win. But then this is where it comes into. It was the Skylar interception, the Deuce fumble, the Will pick 6, and then the Will fumble as we were trying to score at the end of the half. That's what ultimately killed us. We did get get some turnovers ourselves. We had that volleyball dig by Hennington for the Jalen Pickle INT, then 2 strip sacks by Felix, 1 recovered by Daniel Green, 1 by Timmy Horn. But where does that interception kind of rank? Like, not like moment, like
literally one of the greatest,
one of the greatest plays,
single plays I've seen in my entire fandom going to games. That was crazy.
Like the Ryan Mueller jump strip sack versus Baylor, which I think we lost that game.
We did.
But here Hennington, it was a volleyball play, and then there's big old pick.
That just had me thinking amazing. This is the most unreal defense. Because that was after we, had stopped them and we were up 7-0.
Yep. And
then we just did this acrobatic play and we're swarming all over them, and it was crazy. Then
a 4-minute review.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Jesus Christ, they loved their reviews last night, but that was a really special play. And I thought the defense, when you look back on it, they played very well. I was fuming at halftime, really worried about the defense, but in hindsight, when you really break it down, they had a goal to go drive to defend, which they didn't. You would like them to, force a field goal or something, but it happens. That's a tough situation to be in. And then a pick 6. So, 14 of their 23 points came from being really not a defensive breakdown. And then the other being okay, you have to defend for 9 yards against a pretty, tricky offense. So in hindsight, I was just worried at halftime, obviously for, a multitude of reasons. And it kind of clouded my judgment, I think, viewing the overall performance of the defense, because they were not that bad. Just that second quarter, everything seemed to go wrong, and I was like shitting my pants. So
it was like an all-time bad quarter for K-State football.
Truly was. I mean, 3 out of 4 possessions, I think, were turnovers. We gave up 20 unanswered points just like that, and we lose our 6-year veteran hero quarterback. It was terrible, but I was worried about the 3-man front for a little bit. But that second half, man, they really flipped a switch, and everyone was just flying to the ball. So
3 out of the 4 quarters were great. Penalties, we had 5 for 40 yards. Sign me, honestly, if you give me 5 for 40 yards penalties, I'm taking that the entire time. Credit to SIU, they only had 2 for 10. Good on them. I think that they had a couple that we declined, but it is what it is. Third and fourth down efficiency, we went 4 for 10. At one point, it was 2 for 3, but then of course we all know what happened after that. And then we went 1 for 1 on fourth down. SIU 4 of 14 on third down, great. 2 of 3 on fourth down, not as great. But hey, again, I'll sign up literally for all the stats from this game, every single game except for the turnovers. I wouldn't sign up for our third down efficiency, but I'll sign up for almost everything else. So let's get into it. The offensive side of the ball review is sponsored by Adopt Don't Shop. If you want a furry friend and a companion for your whole family, make sure to go to one of the great shelters throughout this country. Find your newest family member. All right, quarterback. Real quickly, it sucks that Skylar goes down because early 3 for 4 passing, 96 yards. The one interception though might have been like one of his worst throws in his career at K-State.
Terrible. Yeah.
That was not a good throw. But he was cooking there, like before that. That's what makes it hurt so much. And then Will Howard comes in, and we all know what happened. 8 for 17, 76 yards, 8 rushes.
The funny thing is Will Howard's first drive was
great.
Excellent. But he looked so poised in the pocket. He was making great reads. It was a lot of running, but it wasn't great reads. It was one throw. He only had one throw on that drive. And again, it was a good pass to Landry Weber. And here's the thing. So again, stat line, 8 for 17, 76 yards, 8 rushes, 9 yards, 1 INT, 1 fumble loss. All right. So here's the thing with Will Howard in that first drive. And this comes back to Courtney Messingham. And I think I had it in here a little later. You were on Messingham. I was too dismissive of it. We can talk about that a little more if we want to, but when Messingham is in a rhythm, he's great. Like I think that he is a very good offensive coordinator when he's in his rhythm. The issue with Courtney Messingham is when we're not in a rhythm, he doesn't have a slump buster play. He doesn't know how to get the offense back in rhythm. It takes an extraordinary play or something from the players to then maybe snap him out of his own funk and make something happen. We were still 100% in the rhythm with that. The issue is what happened after that, because that first one we were running the ball, he made that good throw, but then beyond that, it got messy after that. It did.
Not in a good way. Not like messy as in, oh yeah, Messingham. Like, oh no, that's gross.
Yeah, namely the entire basically second quarter. But I mean, in Messingham's defense, my complaint was, I really went after him after that goal to go.
Well, there were 2 goal to goes that we couldn't punch it in.
Yeah. The one that I went after him on was after, I think
it was the first strip
fumble
sack.
Or strip sack. Yeah. And it was just too vanilla for me. I didn't like running under center, and a lot of that is on the line. They have to be able to execute, but I would prefer running out of the gun with that kind of misdirection. We saw a lot of success from that previously, but when you have a quarterback that you absolutely obviously do not trust, it does make your job a lot harder. So basically that completely removes the passing game from your offense. And I would have liked to see us run Will a little bit more. I think he is fairly effective in the running game, and we didn't really run the quarterback at all last night. And maybe that was by design. considering we lost our number one guy immediately. But I don't know. It did seem like Mess panicked a little bit, and we didn't really know what to do. We had that one scoring drive where we just ran like fucking 16 straight plays or something crazy. And I guess that's what we had to do. And so I feel for him a little bit, but I agree with you. It's the same issues, it seems, with Messingham, that when we're not in that perfect rhythm, it's like, what are we doing here? And I mean, last night we were not in any rhythm whatsoever, so it just looked kind of ugly from top to bottom. But
yeah, and again, Will Howard just didn't look like he belonged. And there were some moments last year where he looked all right. He didn't really have any of those moments outside of, like, you know, he had 2 good throws. I just want to know what happened. How was he not prepared for this game, if that's what it was? Because, you know, the hope was we were going to blow them out and he was going to play anyway. So I guess I would want to know if I could give coaches truth serum is why wasn't he prepared for this game? Because I just refuse to accept that he is that bad. And he's like, yes, he's our undoubted second string. Like, I just don't want to believe that.
Yeah. I mean, it just shouldn't be. And I don't know. I mean, maybe he's just not a gamer. Maybe he's performing well in practice, and then when he gets on the field, he gets nervous, because it just looks like surely the offense, somebody had a great quote. I think it's Lincoln Riley. Somebody posted it, something about how if your offense isn't quarterback friendly, then it's not a good offense or something like that. And I think that our offense is friendly enough for Will Howard. But when he gets in the game and he has time in the pocket and he throws it to an open man and it goes 5 yards over his fucking head, what can you do there? I mean, that's not
and he's
a weakness
lucky.
of the offense.
He's lucky it was only one interception. I think
he could have had 4. I mean,
like the very next one after the pick six, it like hit one of their linebackers in the chest. Like, he got dealt a very tough hand last year, but he had all of summer, he had all of spring, he had fall camp, and Coach Kleiman was out there saying, oh, he's the best backup quarterback in America. So was Kleiman just lying through his teeth? Were they just basically in full on save Will Howard's mentality mode all offseason? Because I just
everyone was saying Will Howard, though. Like, everyone.
I know.
Not even I mean, it went past Kleiman. It was, I don't know. It's really discouraging, though. I mean, he looks like he regressed, honestly. In the Texas game last year, it was like, okay, like, you know, he's had a rough year and he wasn't great in the Texas game either, but it looks like the game's starting to slow down for him a little bit. Last night, it looked like he was in his first game all over again. And
it looked like he was trying to listen to a Ben Shapiro podcast for the first time on 2x speed. And it takes years to build up to that, but no, it's just wild. And again, I think, and here's the thing, this is why you shouldn't bring legends back to coach unless they're established. I think it is time to put Colin Klein on the shit list.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I personally don't feel comfortable saying that because it's like, I'm not a fucking football coach. I don't know what goes into all that. So for me, a layman, to say like, it's time to move on from a coach, especially Colin Klein, like, I don't know, but I would certainly like to see some more progression from our quarterbacks and even Skyler. I mean,
it's like Messingham and Kleiman had 3 straight NFL quarterbacks at North Dakota State.
Yeah.
And then, you know, this is what we're seeing with Will Howard. I mean,
and granted, Will Howard is,
and the difference is the quarterback,
19-year-old 3-star, lower end 3-star, who may just not be that good.
Okay, then the job is to get Lewis or Rubley ready.
Right. The job is to find who is good enough. Because last night was, I mean, he looks like a disaster. I don't understand. Like,
and again, he's gonna look better versus Nevada. I have no doubt about it. But it's like, okay, how much better?
Yeah. The problem is, like, it's literally 50-50. Like, I don't know. Oh God. I mean, I have so little faith in him at this point. It's truly like Hubner levels, like drop back to pass.
3rd and 17, and I was saying to my dad, I don't want to throw the ball. Like, it was
no, like you drop back and it's like it's 50-50 whether it might even be 60-40 in favor if he's going to throw a pick. Like, it just feels that way. He's either throwing it to an open man and he's not hitting him, or it's just so crazy because he will make plays. Like,
Yeah,
I've seen him make plays before. I've seen him roll out of the pocket last year and throw a dime to Bradley Moore streaking down the sideline. And it's like,
seen him take off for 90 yards on a quarterback draw.
Where is it? It's got to be just like mental. I don't know, because he's just, he just feel like he's too amped up. He's skying balls that are like 15-yard passes to guys that are standing stationary, ready to catch the ball. And it's just like, he's nowhere even close. So I really don't know how we improve on that. And that happened all the time last year, and it's happening this year. I don't know what we do. I truly don't. You have to, it just sucks because it takes your playbook, it shrinks it by like 80% because you like, I don't want to put Will in a tough situation, which is one, you're already off on a terrible foot. If you're like saying, you're already taking half your playbook out, but also like anytime you do take a risk, quote unquote risk, and literally just like pass the ball, you're risking like Will's entire mental like toughness being thrown out the window. Like you're risking your quarterback being shook instantly, because any fucking pass play is literally a gamble at this point.
And I want to give him some credit, because all of last season he came in and did post-game interviews, and he came out and did it yesterday. That's why I'm just having a hard time just saying, okay, he doesn't have it, or it's not because he seems to be composed and he handles these very tough situations. I'm 29 years old. Yeah. I'm 10 years older than this man. And if I had to sit in front of a bunch of reporters and explain a mistake I made on a spreadsheet at work, I would crumble. I'd become a dick. I'd become combative. But the kid handles media the perfect way. He does so many things the right way. So it's just like, that almost makes it worse. Like if he like, and again, I'm glad this isn't the case, but if he like did something stupid, or you could tell he was getting flustered with the media, it'd be like, okay, it makes sense. This kid doesn't have it. But you see the moments and he handles some of this stuff with such composure. It's like, okay, what's going on? So maybe I'm trying to find answers. Maybe that's why I'm trying to pin it on, Colin Klein. Because I just want answers, because it should not have looked like that. Not have looked like that at all.
And he's absolutely like, no, especially with just like the Will Howard propaganda that we heard all off season, that he's pushing Skyler for the starting spot. We basically have two starting quarterbacks, not even fucking close. I mean,
I don't want to believe Kleiman lied to us.
They're not even boldly in the same universe right now. I mean, I think it's just, I really don't know. I don't want to say that Will Howard cannot play at this level, because he's still only a freshman, and he got thrown into another tough situation, but you would have expected way more out of last night. And we were playing an FCS opponent. I mean, that should have been the perfect game for him to come in, looked comfortable, but it was just like a nightmare. I mean, it was a nightmare. No one in that stadium had any assurance, when Will was under center, which is a very bad sign. And we're about to enter a 4-game stretch of the toughest games of the year. So I don't feel good about it.
Nope, I don't either. So last thing before we move on from quarterbacks, what do you want to see play calling wise or from the quarterback spot moving forward, or specifically in that Nevada game? Because here's the thing. I think a lot of folks want to see Jake Rubley. I think officially
Rubley's not ready.
Officially, Lewis, I think, was in front of him on the depth chart, but all the huddles were right in front of me. Like, Lewis never put his helmet on. He wasn't even inside the huddles before they'd go out there. Rubley was. So I would be shocked if Rubley's any better already, but it's also like,
Lewis?
Huh?
How bad is Jaron Lewis?
I don't know. It's just worrisome, because it's like, okay, Nevada could easily get up on us like very quickly next week, and
easily.
Like, at that point, do you just mail it in? It's just like, all right, we're going to get shithoused by a Mountain West team and just pack it in and hope we can figure something out versus Oklahoma State. Like, I just don't know what's going to happen next week.
No, you play next week. Like, you play it next week like it's the fucking Super Bowl. I think you throw the kitchen sink at it with Will Howard. Why not? Because I don't think you mail it in.
No, I wasn't saying
down
mail it,
early, but it's like
we
you still got to go for it.
No, I know, but it's just like it, because there isn't an answer. Like you're not going to bring Max Marsh out there, and if Jaron Lewis really sucks, and if I can't imagine Rubley would be to the point where he'd have more of the playbook, but
no, I don't think Rubley's even close to ready either. I don't
know. Then it kind of
know.
comes back to the coaches. Like,
yeah,
you can't put yourself in this situation.
It's It's an absolute failure on a leadership level that Will Howard is where he is. And maybe that's just like, this is what Will Howard is. And this just happens to be our second best quarterback right now. And I get it. Like, I mean, I feel like Rubley's probably going to be better, you know, skill wise, talent wise, ability wise. He's going to eventually pass Will Howard. But Will does have a huge advantage on him in terms of just like knowing the playbook and the time spent in the program. And that's a huge advantage at the quarterback position. But fuck, at a certain point, it's like, why not put him in? Why not put somebody else in? Because fuck, it's not even like that he's at least he can like be a game manager, because he can't. He literally can't do that. He's a risk. Like, he's a huge risk every time that we're just not running the football. That's bad. That's very bad. What are we gonna do? I mean, I truly don't know. It's so depressing. Like, I was so happy to be done with like that.
I was just so happy we won
year.
and we could have just moved.
Yeah, on. I mean, I don't know, man. It is a failure though, because Will should be better at this point. I mean, he should be better. And if he wasn't, like, if he was this bad and he's your second, then you have to get in the portal. You have to go get somebody.
And I understand it's like a tough sell on like, hey, come from the portal, sit behind a 7-year senior, but you had to do something. All right, let's move on to the offensive line, which wasn't that much. I thought Noah Johnson, Duffy and Adler, and then KT Levinson just rough on the right side of the offensive line. I think it was legitimately rough. What made up for that, though, is I think Revis and Beebe were absolutely dominant on the left side. So, you know, and again, there were some times where, hey, all five were just, you know, rolling over them. I mean, there were some of those drives where it was before we kind of stalled out a couple of those times where, hey, you had like 6 plays in a row, there were runs, and you're getting 4 or 5 yards every single run. But eventually they just get 9 in the box, and the numbers game just was too much.
Right.
How much is the unit going to have to step up if they're going to, like, if we're going to attempt to run the ball 70% of the time like we did for Southern Illinois? They're
going to have to step up massively. But now at least they know they're going to have to step up. They're probably going to be going into games now, at least in the next, I'm going to cross my fingers here, in the next 2 weeks. We're going to have to go change our game plan entirely, because Skyler's going to be back in 2 weeks. But
all right, ready for a hot take? Unless we beat Oklahoma State, I don't want them to play versus Oklahoma.
I don't really want him to either. But
because then it's a bye week, then it's Iowa State. I mean, I get it. He has voodoo over Oklahoma.
That's true. That's true. We do have a bye week. That's large. But and I thought, yeah, they're gonna have to step up. They're gonna have to step up. And I thought they did. I thought they did step up last night, honestly. For the majority of the time.
Because I guess how much
they basically had to run 80% of the time, knowing that, like, and you know, SIU kind of knew that too. And anytime that they did fail, it was from that right side. But more often than not, they did their job. They created nice holes, and the running backs had a pretty good day. So, but just knowing, like, you know, SIU saw the writing on the wall. They could have loaded the box, and that's tough to compete against. So, you know, they did what they had to do, and, you know, we won the game by running the football. So I would say I would give them a passing grade, no doubt.
Yeah, I'd give them a C+ as a whole, but I think that left side is, I think Revis has come to play. Revis is going to play himself into
he stepped up
late NFL draft, like 6th, 7th round draft pick. So let's move into tight ends, fullbacks. I was pumped. Jax got the ball and a reception, but you know, there's a good scouting report. Basically, they had safeties that just like shot at his knees, didn't even attempt to tackle him. So that kind of made me sad. But I was happy to see him get involved. His blocking was okay. You saw some quality blocks there, a couple that he should have finished off more. But, you know, it is what it is. You saw a lot of Christian Moore down the goal line. He showed he wasn't afraid to get his nose in there. I think he like kind of pushed Deuce in for one of those, and then Ben Sennett was also in there. I think moving past Mason Barta, again, for the type of offense you want to run, you have to have fullbacks. I think we have 3 pretty good ones, and Mason Barta was fine last year, but it is kind of fun to see some of those young guys get in there behind Jax. But I'm not going to lie, I really wanted to see Jax punch one of those in there. Like when he got that swing pass, I was like, he's taking this to the house. And he was chopped down. That was bad for my ego as Jax Lean's #1 fan.
That was some elite tackling on Jax.
It was.
That was very, very good tackling. It's great to see. Jax had a pretty good game though. I liked what I saw from him. Tight ends were fine. Bebe couldn't really be found, sadly. I think if Skylar's in, he has a bigger game and he would have been fine. But
how important is it going to be getting these 3 tight ends involved if Will's going to have some sort of passing game?
It's going to be huge because, it's going to be huge. Tight ends are often open in the seams, and I just don't have – I don't know, man. I don't have a lot of words to say positively regarding Will Howard going forward in the passing game until I see it. I'm just worried. It's the same shit. He's missing open guys, and that's the problem. It's not like, well, not only is he missing open guys, but his judgment is horrendous. He's throwing into triple coverage. I'm just worried about it.
Let's talk about the running backs.
Let's move on to the running backs.
Yeah,
that's a positive note. We got a trio of freshman running backs that are all different, cuts that are super exciting guys. Deuce had 26 carries, 120 yards, 3 touchdowns. We basically said, Deuce, please win us this game. And he basically did. His long was 16. He did have a costly fumble, which not like Deuce, but credit to him. He still basically took the rock for the rest of the game, and he looked just as good as normal. 26 carries.
I don't think that's sustainable. I
don't know, man. I'm getting to the point where it's like, I think he's just like that guy.
But I guess, so I say that I'm also going to work under the assumption that, especially if you include, Jax's carry, that's close to 40 handoffs a game. Yeah. Because I also want to get Joe Irvin involved. I want to see Jarcadia Wright get involved. I want to see Wright and Irving combined for like 12 rushes a game.
I would definitely like more carries from those other gents, particularly Jarcadia Wright. He looked good last night. 3 carries, 24 yards. He had one where he was chopped down in the backfield, but that's not really his fault. Give him a couple lead blockers and see where he can go. Because that dude, I think he's absolutely got it. I think he's one step away from really taking this offense and kind of running with it himself. So
yeah, and it was good to see Joe Irvin, bounce back from that bad Stanford game. You have 3 guys, and I like that 3-back formation. The only issue is, like, anytime Wright got the ball in that like 3-back formation, you have 2 tiny little boys trying to like chop.
Yeah, I don't really get that.
Deuce was not good.
It was the same thing when we ran in that 3-back. What are we calling that 3-back formation, by the way? What is that called? It's just the diamond.
Yeah, diamond.
We'll call it the diamond. Okay. The diamond formation. That's the same thing that happened when they ran that sweep to Jax. It was fucking Deuce Vaughn, his lead blocker. Yeah. It's like, what are we doing here? Come on, put Jarcadia in at least.
I get why, because hey, you have to keep him honest, but like he's not good. And again, I don't necessarily need him to be great. Like, okay, yeah, just have him shoot at someone's knees, hope he connects and tears someone else's ACL. And
it's not like Jax was going to bust it for 60 yards, but if you put Wright in front of him instead
like 10
of
yards,
Deuce, you probably get a first down there. He hits that first tackler, I would imagine. But I like that diamond formation a lot. It was very useful for us last night. I think that's one of our best packages. I feel really good. If there's one thing to come out positively about the offensive side of the ball is those running backs are fun, and they're all freshmen.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's nuts.
You got to keep Wright happy, because I think he's going to have an eye towards the portal if he's only getting 3 touches a game. Let's move into the wide receivers, because Malik Knowles went up over 100 yards. Love to see it. 112 yards, 5 receptions, average 28, long of 50. How good was it to see those 2 big plays by Malik?
It was great. Malik looks excellent. That first pass and catch was perfect from Skylar. He put it right in the bucket. And it was pretty good coverage. He put it right where he needed to, where the defender had no chance. And, Malik definitely looks a different specimen this season. He looks a lot more physical. I don't know how much weight he put on. He looks kind of the same, but if that was like 6-7 pounds that he put on, it's really making the difference. And I feel pretty assured every time the ball is thrown his way that he's going to go up and get it. Stat line was great. He had like 2 catches for 96 yards in the first 5 minutes or something. That was impressive. Just sucks not being. It just all comes back to Skylar's injury, and it's fucking depressing. But let's keep moving on.
Yeah, we'll just quickly. Hey, good for Landry Weber. 2 catches, 30 yards. Phillip
One
Brooks
was huge.
Phillip Brooks had that big catch, and maybe Will's best play, staying alive, hitting him to eventually set up like the game-killing touchdown. Keenan Garber got a catch using his decoy and jet sweeps. Eventually, he's going to catch one. I texted you. I thought he was going to get a jet sweep, take it for 6. Eventually, he's going to hand it off. Taylor played, Howell played, Warner played. We've talked enough about kind of Will Howard. I think maybe some of it has to do with the wide receivers need to get open quicker. He needs to be schemed open, but let's just see what happens in the Nevada game and we'll revisit. Let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. Defensive side of the ball, sponsored by our swag shop. Cats by 90, bringer of cats. The boys are back. All the merch over on the Bosco's Boys swag shop. Hit us up on Twitter or check the description of this show for the link. Clanderman, I thought he called a good game. The 3-3-5, I think, is here to stay. The only issue I have is I don't think Khalid Duke has a specific fit in this defense, and I think he's a great defender. So that makes me a little worried. And then also it's hard to keep quarterback contain. In those, we saw a handful of scrambles that got through. Because if you can avoid the pressure up the middle, you usually have a chance to do it. They shut him out in the second half. Stanford scored 42 points on a top 15 USC team, and we almost shut them out. So I want to give credit. Yeah, 42-28 or something like that.
Damn.
Yeah, over USC. So I'm going to give Clanderman a lot of credit. I think, and I want to give Kleiman credit to switching to the 3-3-5 because at least through 2 games versus very good offenses, very different defenses, and I thought that they've come to play. Let's see what happens versus Nevada. Nevada is going to be, I think, the best of those 3 offenses. But you have to love what you've seen so far.
Yeah. That first half, I was kind of cursing the 3-man front, but I think that just kind of came down to, and this is another thing that we will touch on. I'm not sure we had the linebackers for it. And we didn't. Daniel Green, that's why Daniel Green was my MVP this year. Because if he goes out and that linebacker core takes a huge step down, and we saw it yesterday, there's just no cornerback contain. And if you're not getting pressure, which we did, and when we did get pressure, there's no one there.
Yeah.
No one there. So I like the 3-man front from the defensive line perspective. It seems to work, especially in that second half and that rotation. We've got some serious dudes that were, just moving the line. But I thought, defensive line played pretty well. Did you touch on Felix?
No, let's
think we have
jump
to.
it. Yeah, let's
what
jump
a massive
defensive line.
Massive pimp.
King Felix and DK. When's the last time someone had a game like that? 5 tackles, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, disrupting the entire game. Seriously, I can't remember a time where a defensive end took. Because Wyatt Hubert had some big games, and I don't want to take away from that or even Jordan Willis, but it's in massive moments, he came up big in a way I don't think we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, he was great yesterday.
3 sacks in a game, 2 of them were strip sacks.
Definitely MVP type of performance. And they all came at times that were critical moments. He was great. That made me really, I believe the hype now, because that was a hell of a performance. I hope he can keep that going. Timmy Horn was excellent. He clinched the game basically with the fumble recovery and that tackle. Was super disruptive. I love Timmy Horn. I think he's a big pimp.
Yeah, I think some of the downside to the 3-man front is you don't have him and Eli Huggins out there at the same time. Yeah. Again, I'm going to trust them. The defenses look fun, but I want to see him out there on the field all at once. I want to give credit to Boom Massey. He had 2 tackles. One of them was a massive tackle for a loss. I thought could have been given as a sack. you know, it might have been quarterback draw. I don't know, but it was good to see him out there. Eli Huggins, again, disruptive. He was banged up a little bit, but the inside is good. Robert Hens had 2 tackles, but I do want to kind of put a spotlight on him on those 2 drives where they got their 10 points in the second quarter. He was blown off the ball a couple times. So I acknowledge he had some okay moments, but when you have guys like Eli Huggins, when you have guys like Timmy Horn, maybe don't rotate as much. I mean, because Hens, I mean, he can't eat a double team like those 2 guys.
I like the rotation, but I don't. Sometimes, and we've touched on this since last season, like keep your best guys in there for the majority of snaps. When you have guys like Timmy Horn, you know, you don't need to, unless he's absolutely gassed, you know, rotate him with Huggins, but you don't need to rotate that heavily. And I don't think that our pleas are going to change anything, but I'm not a huge fan of
one
that.
Of those substitutions, by the way.
Yeah. I don't love it, but I think that's just how we're going to operate. It does keep people very fresh, which has its advantages. But Khalid Duke with 1 sack. My thoughts on D-line as a whole. Yeah, I don't either. Where does he fit? I don't know.
Because he was like lining up in cover. I don't know where he fits. I wish he was like 20
more
pounds
suited,
heavier.
Maybe more suited for that 4-man front, but
I thought the D-line was great. They're my second best, unit.
D-line was good. You have to feel pretty good about the D-line as a whole after these first 2 games. They got some monsters on that line that I think are going to be really fun, and a lot of them are young. So it's exciting going forward.
Yeah, let's get into linebackers. Daniel Green, 4 tackles in the second half. I think he's the heart and soul of that defense, at least the front like 6 or 7, because you could see the difference in that when he came back from that targeting suspension. And then he paired up well with Cody Fletcher. He got a tackle for a loss. What is your confidence level on the linebackers when those are the 2 traditional linebackers out there? When it's Cody Fletcher and Daniel Green?
It's solid. I feel like they are certainly good enough. I mean, I would like with Daniel Green out there, and I think Daniel Green's poised to have a very, very good year. I think he has taken he's improved leaps and bounds from my perspective. He looks like he's packed on a little bit of muscle. He looks faster. His instincts are very good so far. So with Daniel Green on the field, I feel fine about it. And Fletcher can kind of build off of Daniel Green when he's out there. Without Daniel Green, I don't feel too good about it.
I don't rate Nick Allen, Austin Moore very high.
I don't either. And I don't really rate Wayne Jones as a linebacker hybrid type of player.
See, I thought he was all right yesterday.
But I don't think he's good enough. I mean, to really make much of a difference.
That role? Or like, do you think?
I don't know. I just think there's anyone behind Daniel Green outside of Fletcher. Fletcher's clearly a slight cut above, I think, the rest of those guys, but I don't think there's any of them that are going to do a job. I think that it's the depth of the linebacker room is very, very thin. It's basically one guy goes down, it changes everything. It's not a good sign, especially if we want to run a 3-man front. But those 2 starters, I feel pretty confident about. I think that's like a B minus on a good day, B plus, 2 linebackers. So I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I think Hennington and Wayne Jones both are like C, like passing grade in that hybrid spot, but maybe not.
Problem is I want better than C.
I mean, I agree with you, but again, like coming into this, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what
Hennington did have the play of the century, though. So I'll give
Hennington did, yeah. So
that was insane.
That was insane. Let's move in the secondary. I thought it was a overall great game for them. I mean, Southern Illinois threw for 441 yards, 460 yards last week, kept them to only 176. The only issue is I feel like that seam route was open. So is that the linebackers? Is it the hybrid? Is it the safeties? I don't know who needs to own that, but the seams were open quite a bit.
Probably the linebackers, I would imagine. I mean, yeah, I don't know because it is wide open and I don't like that. And it's not even like a lack of pressure type of thing, because that seam was typically like thrown within 2 seconds. The guy drops back and he's
And
got
the
a
seam
guy
was
right up the
open for
seam.
Stanford too. Their quarterback just missed it.
That worries me. Going into Big 12 play here soon, and facing a Nevada team that likes to sling the ball with a probably pro quarterback. So something to remedy, no doubt.
Yep. Brent's led the team in tackles. They seem to go after him the most in the passing game, which I think is proof. And this is on me. I mean, I was saying Echo was going to get challenged all year. No, Echo is the top cornerback. He's taken away that entire side of the field. But Brent
so good.
Had a good pass breakup. He was good in coverage. Like I don't want to take away from Brent. I still think Brent is a NFL caliber player. But I think I think the proof is in the pudding. People are throwing at Brent and he's able to make plays and he's getting tackles and he's not giving up big plays. But I think it's just proof that Echo Boydo probably needs to start getting let's see what happens in Big 12 play. But he might be like a borderline all Big 12 cornerback this year.
He's so good. I mean, no one's throwing at him. It's truly Echo Island. And I feel confident about the people behind him too. And I mean, Brent's on the other side of the field. Obviously, he's still very good. He's got length, but they did attack him quite a bit last night. I feel pretty good about Justin Gardner too. I mean, those boundary corners are about as good as they've been in years. Probably, yeah. I'd say they're better than Duke Shelley and DJ Reed. They've got way more. Well, Duke was just undersized.
Yeah, there's depth behind him,
but they've got size now. I mean, they can cover, and they're, minimum 6 foot. How tall is Echo? He's like at least 6 foot.
Yeah, 6 foot, but with like a 6'4" wingspan.
Yeah. So
Brent's is like 6'5". It's probably not 6'5", but he is a tall boy.
Feel very good about those boundary corners. I love the press coverage. They're, if they're going to get beat, they're going to get beat. So I don't know, but Echo is a massive pimp. He could definitely end up being, an all Big 12 type of player. Yep. I agree.
The Sauce Boss got 2 tackles. Sincere Mason got a tackle. So good for some of those guys on the periphery. Not a ton of snaps for Ross Elder, which is good from my perspective. Did get a pass breakup on the final drive, got a tackle. So I think the amount of snaps we saw from Ross Elder is what we need. Russ Yeast got a pass breakup. He was flying around out there. J-Mac, 5 tackles, 1 sack that came up big after a face mask penalty, very timely. And also I think he faked an injury while SIU was driving to make sure we could sub and get a little bit of rest.
I was definitely worried because his helmet came off mid-play, and I was like, Jesus Christ, did he just crack his skull open?
No,
he was just chilling.
Yeah, I think he's just a smart guy. So I'm very high on our secondary. Mm-hmm. Again, kept them to only 176 passing yards. I think 43 of them happened on that final drive. They did 460 the week before, but the real question is, are they going to be up for the task versus Nevada? Nevada played a bad Idaho State team, but they scored 49 points, 441 yards. They have a future NFL quarterback and wide receiver. Just 2 sentences. Where's your confidence level in the secondary going into that game? Because we're going to need them to come up big again.
My confidence in the secondary is high. I think, they're obviously going to be tested. It's going to be, the toughest test so far this season for the secondary, and they're going to have to put up, no doubt about it. But, they're going to be attacked constantly. Unfortunately, I think this is just probably a game where we're going to need to score some points, and I don't have a lot of faith that that's going to happen. I think, Nevada might put up points on anyone. It's just, can we keep them out of the end zone just enough times and score more than they can, which I don't have a lot of faith. But I wanted to mention the Wasp. TJ Smith is a lot better than I thought he was going to be. Yes. I mean, he looks very, very good. Didn't lose a step in terms of speed, and he looks a lot bigger, a lot stronger than he was last season. He's in the right position more often than not. And I love the energy that he plays with. He's one of those guys that's spearheading the mob sign. I mean, he absolutely.
Okay, can they still throw it up next week? Can they throw it up going into Nevada?
They're going to keep throwing it up.
I'm fine with it. I
don't care. I mean, this is clearly like.
If you were keeper of the sign, would you allow them to use it?
Let's be honest, dude. Let's be honest. There hasn't been a lynch mob-esque
Okay,
defense
that's dead
since
though.
Snyder 1.0.
But here's the thing: that's never going to happen in today's college football. So I'm fine with it. I like it. I like it's giving them
it
swagger.
happens at like Alabama. Like Alabama
It's
is
better
like,
than the like Wildcat hand signs. So I'm all for it.
I like it. I'm fine with it. If that's that's the mantra,
Galvanizing,
that's
yeah.
the DNA that that's the mentality that our defense, what is the word I'm looking for? The persona,
Identity.
Thank you, Jesus. That's the identity that our defense is striving to be as a whole. It is what it is. And you know what? They looked lynch mob in the second half. They pitched a shutout. They were dominant in the trenches. And they did what they had to do. And they're swaggy about it. That's what I like.
They do have
a lot of the
swagger.
lynch mob is a lot of the lynch mob is about just pure swagger. So this is a hard hitting, fun defense. So I mean, who's to say that I can?
I thought Sincere
keeper
Mason
of the
was
sign.
on his one tackle. I thought he was going to get tossed for targeting. I'm glad he didn't.
That was a perfect tackle. He went right for the ball. I mean, that was a very good play for
the running back
to hang on to that, or whoever caught it. But I mean, he came in like a missile, hit him right where he needed to, right on the ball, and he kept it. That was
I think him and TJ
play,
are going to be our starting safeties next year. So let's talk special teams real quick. Kicking kickoff. Zentner seems to be an automatic touchback on kickoffs, which is good.
Love that.
Let's just every time. I'll listen to like maybe like a pooch try to like do something crazy a couple times, but I mean it's worked for us. I mean, so but again, I like that
But if you can kick it out of the end zone, dude.
Yeah,
like
I mean, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Winkle 4 for 4 on extra points, but really pushed one of them. Had a perfect 34-yarder. Then he pushed and missed that 24-yard.
Was like that was like a moment where I was like, we're definitely losing. Yeah. It was like, we are fucked. This is one of those nights.
And he's a true freshman. He's from the Kansas City area. I think he has the potential because, again, he's starting to kick as a true freshman. He has the potential to be an all-time kicker for us because you're starting so young. But here's the thing. When it's a young kicker, he needs to bounce back mentally. Where's your confidence in him that he's going to be able to do that? Because he has a stroke. You can see he has the talent now. Can he make sure he's fine between the ears? My
confidence is to be determined because he's only got, it's hard to really feel confident in any kicker when he's only had
Blake Lynch.
When he only had 3 kicks. Yeah, and even Blake started off last season with a couple of misses.
Good point.
It's just, I don't know yet. I think it's just to be determined. The jury's still out. So far, so good. Obviously pushed that one pretty poorly, and that was kind of a chip shot. So the game was on a nice edge at that time, and we really needed that for a little bit of security, and he missed, which is a little worrying. And then his extra point after that was like a line drive, low kick. So we'll see how he bounces back next week. Great kick into the wind.
That 34-yard field goal. Yeah.
Or second half, whenever that was. Great kick with some legitimately tough wind. And also, a great kick in Jerry World right down the middle. So he's obviously got a good stroke. He's young. I never feel confident in really any kicker. I mean, outside of like Matt McCrane, and Lynch was obviously very reliable, but Cantelli's always seemed to slip up when we needed him in big moments. Even Lynch has missed here and there. McCrane was an absolute like automatic, it seemed, but
it's still wild to me that he never got a real shot in the NFL.
I know he's
same with Ankle, but whatever.
He can hit from 60 yards. Like he's got a hell of a leg. And every time I saw him kick in the NFL, he made it.
It's perfect. Yeah.
So I don't really understand that logic either.
But
I never really feel confident in the kicker. It's a kicker. How can you? It's a college kicker. How can you feel super confident? But so far Winkle looks pretty good. So I'll give him more credit.
Yep. Return game didn't bust one, which was a little disappointing. I think Brooks is very scared to field end over end punt, which whatever, it's fine. Malik could have taken 1 to 6 on his kick return. He went the wrong way. He should have just followed Brooks. It would have been a touchdown, but
Brooks was close on a kick too. He got up to the 35 and was very close to busting that seam.
We're gonna get one soon.
I
Maybe
think Brooks
versus
is
Nevada.
I think Brooks is a really good returner. I feel like it could happen every time he touches it. He's got good vision, and he doesn't quite have like the speed, but he's shifty. His vision is pretty good, and hey, it's really all about blocking. I mean,
It is true.
create
But
the
you have to-
lanes.
You have to see. You have to find the
Yeah.
hole. You have to hit it, and then you have to have the acceleration. But I think we're gonna get one versus Nevada. That's a far out prediction. Punting, thought Zentner was really good in his two. The first one should have been down inside the 5. It just squirted past Porter, and then he did down one inside the 10 in his other punt. So I'm pleased with him. Do you got anything on Zentner as a punter before we grade the keys to be?
No, thought he was good.
He's good. All right. Grading the 4 keys to V. Again, Spotify Green Room. They're our sponsors. Come join us every Wednesday, 7 p.m. We'll put a bow on the Southern Illinois game, and we'll start talking Nevada. First key to V, it was yours. It was play clean football. I know what my grade's going to be for this, but what's yours?
Well, initially this was more geared towards like penalties, but as a whole, looking back on this game, we weren't super clean in that second quarter. Very sloppy, taking care of the ball, and that basically put the game on a nice edge for the rest of the night. So I'll give it a passing grade because we played overall pretty disciplined. 5 penalties for 40 yards. Is that what it was?
Yep.
You said you'd take that every night. I agree. And not a lot of them were like timely backbreakers, drive killers. Maybe one was a holding penalty that put us early, way behind the line
Behind
of
the
scrimmage,
chains,
which
yep.
you can't do that, especially with
Mm-hmm.
WH under center. So I'll give it a passing grade, but barely C- for me.
Yeah, I'm going D. I know when we talked about this, you're mainly talking about the penalties, but when you have 4 turnovers, I'm not going to give that a passing grade. Speaking of not a passing grade, my first key to V was answer the questions in the passing game. I think we would have gotten there. Skyler wouldn't have gotten hurt, but even though that interception was really bad, but then you have Will Howard come in, it's like a straight up fucking F.
Easily an F. At this point in time, we have more questions in the passing game than we have ever fucking had. Like
Ever.
yeah.
At least
We didn't run. How many passing plays did we run in the entire second half?
Not a lot.
I really think it was less than, over under 7.
I don't know.
Got to be more than that. But
So,
we went an
Howard threw the
entire
ball
drive.
17 times, and at least 5 of them was in the first half. So maybe 12 or less.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
QBR 10.3.
yeah, it's an F for me, obviously. Number 3, let the mob be the mob. I'll give it a B plus. I think that's a fair grade. First half, tough. Mob was put in some really tough positions, and really, they only gave up 17 points. How did they get to 23?
They had that swinging gate 2-point conversion shit show that
I must have
honestly
missed that.
it could have been returned for 2. It was a stupid little, I think Morris Brown could have taken that 2-point conversion back for 2
Oh yeah, they
points.
didn't.
Yeah.
They did not convert a 2-point conversion.
Yeah, it was like a swinging gate type play on their first touchdown. So the defense only gave up 9 points because the turnovers, they kicked their field goals on them or extra points on them.
So defense gives up 9 points, pitched a shutout in the second half when
I'm giving it a B plus.
That's what I gave it, B plus. So
A minus. I'm giving it an A minus.
All right, I'll give it an A minus too, bitch. But yeah, pitched a shutout in the entire second half, and we were down going in the second half, not getting the ball back. So pretty big night for the defense. They stepped up in a big way.
Yeah, my final one was making it early night for the Stars. F again, straight up.
Salute
fucking
F. God, it's
Didn't
so funny.
even
It's
get
like
the backups in.
I desperately was like, I want to see Will Howard play so bad, but not like this.
No. Our post-game Ask Bosco questions are brought to you by the University of Memphis Athletics. Why doesn't the Big 12 want us? Why doesn't anybody want us? Memphis Athletics. Honestly, we've touched on all of these, really. We had a lot of questions. They're not as fun after a game like this, so we're not really going to touch on a lot of them. The only one I think we haven't really touched on, because we talked about quarterback coach. We talked about how I think we both were most pleased with the defensive line outside of running backs. Do you think defense is good enough to carry us to a bowl game if Skylar isn't going to be around? And do you think this is the best defense we've had since 2012? I'm saying yes, best defense since 2012. But if you're telling me Skylar Thompson isn't coming back, which we think he's going to, we think he's going to come back anywhere between 2 to 5, 6 weeks.
Mhm.
I don't think we get to 6 wins if Skylar doesn't come back.
I think we do. And that's,
If we beat Nevada, timeout. If we beat Nevada, yes.
we've got two. We got 2 now. Nevada's going to be tough, but I think the
KU
Big
and
12.
Tech
I think
are
the Big
shit.
12 is weak. I really do. I think we do.
Baylor's shit.
We beat TCU on the road last year with literally just a defensive performance.
That's true.
I think that the defense will be able to perform and save our ass 1 to 2 games this year. That'll give us a chance to steal a couple. God damn it, this is depressing. But we're definitely going to beat KU. I mean, I would say most likely we'll beat KU. I think Tech will be tougher than we think.
I mean, they just
because-
barely beat Stephen F. Austin.
Yeah, I didn't see that actually, so maybe not. But Tech will be there for the taking. But they're due to beat us, and we're going to Lubbock. We will see. But we're 2 games ahead of schedule, so that means we've got 4 games to win. If you think that the gimmies are KU and Tech, then where's that put? And Oklahoma State looks awful.
Oh,
They look
Baylor's
awful.
bad.
Baylor's
bad.
awful in Manhattan. TCU does not look very good. They came back and won, to their credit, but they don't look good.
God,
Texas got
why did
absolutely
we have to
rubbed last
fuck-
night.
We'd be going back to Arlington. Let's move
I really
on.
think
let's
we would
do the
be
game balls, please.
legit favorites, with OU. But I agree.
Yeah.
Let's hop into the game
Yeah.
balls. It
Yeah.
sucks ass. Are we not answering questions? Or are we gonna do that later?
Well, no, I mean, I put them in there, but we've touched on all these. Do we need to make a change at quarterback coach?
Okay.
I think
No, that's
so.
fine.
You're probably no. We both think the defensive line from Ace Edwards was the best group outside of the running backs.
I would say I'm open to change at any
Yeah,
position
I
for coach.
we touched on all these. But
But,
just shout out to everyone who asked questions. There were a lot of bad ones though, because it wasn't a fun game. All right, let's just get into game balls. We both have 2 game balls: offense, defense. You can substitute a special team, and then we have a special award swagger sticker at the end. I put mine in here mainly because I wanted to take the easy one on defense, but we're going to start with offense. Who are giving your game ball? I left an easy one, I think, for that.
My game ball goes to Deuce. 26 carries. Deuce is our knight in shining armor at this point. I mean, he can carry this team. He's proven that more than he did last year, even. And luckily, we've got a couple other weapons around him that can open it up for him. But Deuce, we just gave him the fucking ball, and he did it. He did the damn thing, and he can go up the middle. Like, it's crazy. Like, he can legit run between the tackles and get 5 yards because he's so small. Like, he can stop on a dime and just jump 3 yards in no time at all. Nobody can see him. So he's just got really, really good vision, and he's tougher than he's given credit for. He's tough to bring down. So mine goes to Deuce. I love the man.
My first one's going to Cooper Beebe. I think he played very well, and we're going to need him to continue to be elite, especially since, it's going to be all on not all on the offensive line shoulder, but a lot more of it's going to be on their shoulder for the next few weeks. So Cooper Beebe's getting my game ball number 1. Who's getting your second game ball?
I'll give my second game ball and my defensive game ball. I'll give it to Clandy. I thought Klanderman coached a really good game, and, put in a very tough position, basically like the game is on you at this point. Had to pitch a shutout in the second half, and they did. Thought he called a lot of the right plays. And, after a couple of drives from SIU in the second half, I just kind of felt like they're not going to score. They are not going to score. So I felt like it really was. I had a tweet last night that we had the lead. When we had the lead and the ball, I felt less assured than when we did not have the ball, which is like a very bad sign. But thought Klanderman was excellent last night. And, that's 2 games in a row where he's coached a pretty solid game. So Clandy.
Yep. Mine is going to King Felix Ndike. I can't remember the last time we saw a game that dominant. Just a great game from King Felix. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do versus Nevada, because I think he's going to need to dial up a few more strip sacks. Who's getting your swag sticker?
I'm giving it to the Wasp. TJ plays with so much energy. He's one of my favorite freshmen we've had in a long time. I love that he's number 7 too. I think he is going to be like a legit, when it's all said and done, I think he could play himself into an all Big 12 type of player too.
I think you're right.
He has got more talent than I ever accounted for. And, he's young, but he played a ton of snaps last night, and he's already a big part of this offense. And, he looks the part, and he just plays with so much swag, and I love it.
Yeah, mine is going to Taylor Bratt. The captains carried out a jersey honoring G-Man. For those of you who don't know, G-Man was a high schooler who was battling a lot of stuff over the last few years. Sadly, passed away. He did a ceremonial signing day. He was very close to Taylor Bratt, Skylar Thompson, Coach Kleiman. Coach Kleiman touched on him a few times. Just very close to the team. G-Man was a special guy. And then Taylor Bratt put on that jersey and rocked it the entire game. Just heartwarming. My heart goes out to the family, to the K-State family. And, Taylor Bratt's one of the greatest dudes in the world. So seeing him rock that jersey all game really touched me. So he gets my swagger sticker, and Taylor Bratt's a good dude. Skylar Thompson, great dude. Just what K-State football means to so many people just is exemplified right there. And it was good to see.
Yeah, I agree.
So
go ahead.
I just don't really have much else to say. So that's all I have. We got to win. Iowa State lost, got to laugh at them. Texas lost, got to laugh at them. Stanford's great, beat the shit out of them. I mean, there is a dark cloud, but hey, just regroup, Cat fans. The boys are gonna need us on Saturday. So get out there, make some noise back, and let's see what happens. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah, I make a vow to stop being a dick about Will on the timeline. We don't need that energy. He's just a kid. He's doing his best. So I'm going to back Will Howard. He's going to roll the Wolfpack. We just got to regroup. We'll game plan with Will. Skylar's going to be back soon. I have faith. It's going to be okay. We just got to get through. We just got to find a way. We just got to find a way to win.
Survive in advance until Skylar
survive.
It does not matter how it happens. Just
literally doesn't matter. But yeah, I mean, it was huge. That was huge just to get out of there last night with the W and regroup, and we did. And now we look forward. Now we can finally I give everyone permission to be afraid of Nevada because it's time.
Yeah, it is time.
Regroup, boys. We're 2-0. 2-0.
Better than 1-1.
Yes, better than 1-1. I will be back to the Bill next week. I got 2 free tickets. Section 4. Boom.
There you go.
Folks, we love you. Get yourself in there. We're going to need it. We're going to need all the noise we can get. Cats are 2-0. Meet me at the Cat Head.
It's time to get set for the Cat Attack.
You can feel the excitement. You can feel it coming on. For Kansas State, the feeling's growing strong. You can join in the action. This is where you want to be. With Kansas State, come on, set your spirit free. Kansas State, our pride is with the Cats.